It is a river of light.
Good boy. Hello, Vinyl Community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and Slambo's Car of Idiots. Slambo had started a thread on trains, and so I want to continue that. I want to make my contribution to that thread, but before I do, I want to mention Eric Weinbender. Eric, if you're watching this, prayers are with you. And we hope you recover swiftly from your car accident, and we're so sorry that happened to you. Thoughts and prayers, but thoughts and prayers mean nothing unless you include action. There's a GoFundMe page for Eric. If anybody wants to contribute, I'll try to leave a link to the GoFundMe page down below. All right, that said, trains. Here we go. Isn't it commonplace to have train songs involving monkeys? From Reckoning, Grateful Dead, one of my favorite albums by the Dead because it's an acoustic album, and they do The Monkey and the Engineer, and it's Jesse Fuller's composition, The Monkey and the Engineer. I've searched for Jesse Fuller's original version of that. I can't find anybody anywhere. If anybody knows what album it might be on, please let me know in the comments below. But The Monkey Engineer and the Engineer. That old train is running out of control because the monkey started it up when the engineer stepped out, and he's headed down the tracks. You'll have to listen to the song and see what happens. Okay, this album doesn't have any train songs in it, but it has a great cover with featuring a train. J.J. Cale and Okie. This is from '74, I believe, on Shelter Records. A great album. Highly recommended. And everything I'm showing you is highly recommended for that matter. Guy Clark did some great songs involving trains. This is an album, when I searched for Old Number One, his first album on RCA, it's very difficult to find. But even in the early 80s, it had come out less than a decade before. It was almost impossible to find that record anywhere. I ended up having, they ordered this for me at the record store. They said, this is the closest we can get for it, to it. And that's an international release, which basically takes much of the first two albums and compresses it into one album. They leave out a few, but they don't leave out the two great train songs on here, and that would of course be Texas 1947, which is the memories of a little boy when the train, an unusual train comes to town. Listen to the song and find out what was unusual about that particular train. And followed, the next song on there is Desperados, Waiting for a Train, and what will we do without banditos and trains for our westerns, right? Great song, another great song. It's been covered by a lot of people. Etta Baker had an album, and it is called Railroad Bill, and that is a traditional song that Etta Baker does on this album. You're going to hear some great finger picking guitar in the Piedmont blues style. Etta Baker is the real deal. She's passed away now, but I think this is 2015. This is the only album that she actually has out. There's a CD or two that you can get of hers. And of course, most hated man in music, Mr. David Allan Coe, despicable human being, but put out some really great music in the 1970s and early 80s especially. And this is his album, Once Upon a Rhyme, and it includes the Steve Goodman and John Prine composition, but only Steve Goodman's name appeared for the copyright because John Prine was scared it would make people upset that it was making fun of country music or something. But of course, what we're talking about is You Never Even Called Me by My Name, that song that's become an anthem for several generations since then. and the spoken word line where Coe says, Steve Goodman, a friend of mine named Steve Goodman, wrote that song, and he said it was the perfect country and western song. I wrote him back and said it wasn't the perfect country and western song because it didn't say anything about mama or trains or getting drunk. And I paraphrased that, but I think it's pretty close to what it said in the song. And and he says, and Steve Goodman wrote me back, and this is the verse he gave me. I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison. I went to pick her up in the rain, but before I could get to the station in my pickup truck, she got runned over by the danged old train. And you can hang around. It goes on and on. A great song, David Allen Coe. And The Fields of November, Norman Blake, one of those great flat-picking guitarists. There he is with Tut Taylor and let's see who else is in on this. Charlie Collins and his future wife Nancy Short. And Norman does a song called, let me find it on here. It's over here. Okay, Southern Railroad Blues, a railroad song. But the one I was thinking of was Last Train for Poor Valley. Last Train from Poor Valley. Song about a girl taking that last train out to get away. Last Train from Poor Valley. Norman Blake. Great flat picking guitar work. That is an album that I think anybody that likes acoustic guitar or acoustic music in general would love. Dr. John Starling, yes, he was a surgeon, cardiac and emergency surgeon, I believe. Hey, Chester just joined us. Hey, buddy. This is one of his 2 solo albums, and this is called Waiting on a Southern Train. And it includes at least 2 train songs, Slow Moving Freight Train, 3 of them actually, Waiting on a Southern Train, and opening side 1 is New Delhi Freight Train. John Starling, he was the lead vocalist for the Seldom Sing Bluegrass Band at one time during their early days, and did some solo work, but also worked as a practicing surgeon for many, many years in the Washington, D.C. area. So he was multitasking there for many, many years. All right, Gil Tanner and the Skillet Lickers had a guitarist, a blind guitarist, and his name was Riley Puckett. This was old-time string band music from Georgia, and this is Waiting for the Evening Mail. Of course, the mail arriving, waiting for the train to come with the evening mail. And I'm looking on here, and there's that title track is on here. There's no other train songs. Oh, K&C Railroad, the last song on side 2 is there. And there is Riley Puckett, blind guitarist out of Georgia. Did some great music both as a part of Gil Tanner and the Skillet Lickers and solo. All right. There was some discussion on Rachel's live stream the other day about Elvis and what would be the essential album if you could have only one. I think this would be Elvis the Sun Sessions. And of course, I'm talking about Mystery Train. First song on side 2 is our train song there. Great, pre-draft or not draft. Was he drafted or did he volunteer? Maybe he knew he was going to be drafted, so he went ahead and volunteered. But before Elvis went into the service, that is the golden era of Elvis, especially those early Sun years with Sam Phillips. Okay, and I mentioned Seldom Sing as a band John Starling was in. This is an album by them. John Starling's on this album. He was the lead singer on this one. Old Train. On Rebel, I believe. Most all of their stuff was on Rebel. And There's a title track, Old Train, on here, and Pan American, which is talking about a train. So I'm probably lost everybody. Oh, this is the last one. Okay. Billy Joe Shaver. The late, great Billy Joe Shaver. He never looked this dandied up in real life. They really got him dressed up for this album cover, trying to make him a star, but he's too ornery for that, I guess. And there's 2 train songs on this one. Amtrak and Ain't Coming Back. So you don't see many songs about the modern era of trains, the Amtrak line, but there's one. And the one, of course, we would probably all know by Billy Joe Shaver, if you're familiar with his work, would be I've been to Georgia on a fast train. I've been to Georgia on a fast train, honey. I wasn't born though yesterday. I got a good Christian raising and an 8th grade education. Ain't no reason, ain't no need in y'all treating me this way. That's how it went. All right, Billy Joe Shaver. So there's a look at trains and albums, everybody. That'll do it for me. That's my entry into the trains thread. And everybody remember, be kind to your neighbors, because we're all neighbors.